We are visiting with Brad Belzer and also Trevor Folling, and they are both here with Common Ground, and we are here at the 2023 Farm Progress Show in Decatur, and actually in the varied industry stands where I found the folks from Common Ground. Brad, it's day number 3 of the show. How's the show been treating you so far?
It's been great. Really nice crowd. We've enjoyed the time, had some really good conversations, educating both landowners and farmers on what our business does.
Let's talk about what your business is. Tell us about Common Ground.
So we are an online marketplace for connecting farmers with landowners for tillable or hunting leases. Our system allows landowners to kind of educate themselves on the value of their ground from a leasing standpoint. We're very unique in the space that we're really the only ones out there who are showing lease sort of trends, lease values, comps, across the board. And so you can go onto CommonGround.io, you can select your parcel, and it will spit out what we expect that you should see in a cash rental rate. And so, as commodity prices continue to kind of swing up and down, our numbers constantly change. And so it's just a good way for landowners to understand the value of their tillable ground. That system doesn't work for hunting tracts, but basically the premises behind what we do, we educate the landowner. The landowner will then have the opportunity to put their property on the platform at no charge to the landowner and bring bidders from within 60. We've seen guys traveling up to 100 miles now, operating farmers to pick up pieces of ground. Maybe they're farming a large swath and they're going to stop on their way past. But we allow then the operating farmers to bid on the platform. So it's a kind of a mix between, like, say, an Airbnb and an eBay sort of a deal, with a Zillow feel for the landowner and, educational stuff. So farmers bid on the cash rental rate, the landowner between us and them, we can kind of help decide, is it going to be a 3-year lease, is it going to be a 2-year lease? And so we administer the lease electronically completely through the platform. And so we believe that it should be improved off of what we see so commonly, the handshake on hundreds of acres of ground. At the value it is today, it's hard to justify a handshake in these sort of situations. So farmers bid, high bid never wins. And so between us doing our due diligence for the landowner potentially maybe knowing a guy from that area, that they make the decision out of the bidders who they end up wanting to choose to be their tenant for the farm. I would say 8 out of 10 times or better, the high bidder does not win. And for a multitude of reasons. There's some folks who say, well, Farmer A, he lives right up the road. I like a guy who can cruise by the farm all the time and keep an eye on it. Other reasons, guys like, well, I'd like to help a young upcoming farmer, which we've been able to do a lot of. The younger guys, to give them an opportunity to add acres, maybe stay on the farm and continue farming with dad and grandpa that they never would have had before. And so it's kind of a twofold. The farmers get access to ground that they never would have had opportunities to get outside of the coffee talk, shop talk, that sort of stuff. And we see across the board very happy farmers, very happy landowners, and a increased ROI across the board of just shy of 40% for the landowner. And so it's very motivating for the landowner. The operators are still very, very happy to have these opportunities. And so it's really a two-sided marketplace that there's nothing else out there like it for both parties.
And then you have the convenience of being able to handle everything through the site.
100%. Yep. The leases go completely through the site. They're electronically signed by both the landowner and the tenant operator, at the time that the lease is agreed on or the operator's chosen. And then they're off to the races. Outside of that, payments are made directly to the landowner outside of the platform. But we connect the two and do as much due diligence as we possibly can to make sure we're getting the correct farmers with the correct landowners. And we're very, very much adamant on soil sustainability, and so our leases read very heavily. In a lot of cases, we're insisting on soil samples on year 1 of the lease and soil samples on the final year of the lease to make sure that we are taking care of that ground for the longevity of the landowner's asset. And it's just been very positive for both sides of the transaction.
From the landowner side of things, if I have property that I want to list, can I list the farming practices that I want to see happen on that ground? Yeah,
and we see that a lot. We're starting to see more landowners who are saying that they want to see cover crops, which is, personally I think is a great thing for the soils. Depending on your soil types, obviously keeping erosion down is very beneficial, but just keeping the nutrients in that ground. And these guys are getting pretty good wheat crops in some areas that, we haven't seen wheat planted that often. Do the wheat, come back right behind it, plant soybeans. Cover crops is one. No-till farming, has become more popular for a lot of landowners. And so the landowner ultimately dictates exactly how they want the farm to be taken care of ahead of time. And so when farmers are bidding, they know what the expectations are through the description of that specific property that they're interested in.
On the hunting side of things, let's talk a little specifics there. Does it work similar from the landowner's perspective? If I have property that I want to lease out to hunters, how does it work?
Yeah, it does. It's the same exact sort of process. We don't have, I would say there's no data out there realistically for saying what is a good piece of West Central Illinois deer hunting farm. What's it worth for a hunting lease? Who knows, And so same exact deal. The high bidder on the hunting lease doesn't automatically get selected. The landowner gets to interview them, have conversation. But we're seeing very strong numbers on hunting leases, $60, $70 an acre, when a lot of times we were previously, guys were seeing $30, $40 an acre, and they were happy with that. But putting it out into an open, transparent marketplace really changes the dynamic, and it gives price discovery, true price discovery on both the towable and the hunting side that just isn't out there anywhere else.
On the hunter's side, I talk to a lot of hunters that hunt public that have a hard time finding ground, finding places to hunt. So this is an opportunity for them to find some tracks they may not be familiar with.
Absolutely, and we've got tracks, hunting tracks all over the Midwest. We've had some hunting tracks down south, Mississippi, Alabama. We've leased one in the state of New York, and so we cover a lot of ground. But if you're a hunter, register on CommonGround.io, and you can put your stipulations. Hey, I'd be interested in if anything comes available in these counties, and you will automatically get notified that there's a new lease available in Fulton County, Illinois. It's the same with the operating farmers. That once you register on the platform, any property that comes up within a 60-mile radius of your home residence that you entered in when you registered, you will automatically be notified that there's a new farm available for lease in your area.
Wow. So where do we go again? You mentioned the site.
It's called CommonGround.io.
Yep, that's the place to go. And then on top of that, we've got Trevor here to talk a little bit about a new insurance option through Common Ground on the ag side of things. Trevor, tell us about this cash rent option, the insurance option that's out there.
Yeah, we are really excited to be here to talk about cash lease revenue insurance. It's a brand new insurance product, a week old, that we're running out for the Farm Progress Show this week. We've been talking to a lot of guys about it, and essentially what it does is it's a lazy man's foot. It's an insurance product that allows a farmer to guarantee a price for 24 grain at any point between now and April 1st.
That's unusual. That's something new to the industry, right?
Yes, it's something that's never existed before, but what it's going to allow a farmer to do is have a guarantee before the month of March, where they're using their federal crop insurance to guarantee their price for 24 grain. What this allows a farmer to do is to guarantee a percentage of their lease at a price they pick between now and April 1st.
Does it work with my federal crop insurance?
It does. So it works in unison with your federal crop. Your federal crop insurance would be your base insurance. What this does is it works with that federal crop insurance to guarantee a higher number on your high leased acres. So if you have a $100 gap between what your federal crop insurance protects and the risk on top of that, this insurance will cover that gap and make sure that you get an indemnity payment if the price of grain drops next fall.
What's been the response from farmers to hearing about this at the show?
Oh, it's been overwhelmingly optimistic. It's something that's never existed before except through a broker, but it takes the emotions out of dealing with a broker. So this is a policy you can buy at any point between now and April 1st, and you don't have to look at it again until you pay the bill for it in November of 2024.
So we're running out of time here in the segment. How do I find out more about this insurance option?
Yes, so my email is trevor@commonground.io, and you can find me through the site, and I would love to run through anybody that would be interested in seeing a quote on it.
All right, so CommonGround.io to learn more about all that we've discussed?
Yes.
Very good. Trevor, Brad, thank you both for taking the time. Enjoy the Farm Progress Show.
Jared, thank you so much.